What's going on, guys? Thank you for watching my channel and watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe below for more content like this. Appreciate it. So I mentioned this earlier, but Larry Ellison's son, because Larry Ellison is not just a tech person right now. He's actually rapidly becoming more of a tech person. And this is, I think, what the left, to give the left some credit, this is what they talk about, like the Bernie Sanders, the billionaires, like all these people that, that say like that. This is where they have a point. Actually, like this is where Bernie Sanders, I think, has a point. This is where Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has a point. This is where Zoran Mondani has a point. And we should heed their words on this. This is where I kind of become a leftist in some ways. So David Ellison, who's Larry Ellison's son, no one knows this, by the way. I just found this out a couple weeks ago. Glenn Greenwald has done a really good reporting on this. David Ellison now runs Paramount. He runs Paramount Pictures. He runs the largest movie studio in the entire world. He just bought rights to the company. They just did I believe, a $7 billion deal with the UFC, who is, again, closely aligned with Donald Trump. The fastest growing sport in America, UFC. And they have access to some of the biggest franchises in the world. All the Christopher Nolan films, the Godfather franchise, Yellowstone, all the Taylor Sheridan stuff. It's all available on Paramount Plus and with Paramount features. They own, by the way, CBS News. Also, they own CBS. Survivor, which I love, by the way. I'm going to watch it tonight after I record the show. So Larry Ellison is now, not only does he have a familial tie to a person who runs a massive media company, he is now in position to take over TikTok. That deal is going to go through soon. And I remember when I was at Oracle, we were talking about buying TikTok and taking over the American branch of TikTok and the TikTok algorithm. So now it is going to be sold to Oracle. Larry Ellison and David Ellison are now installing, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Barry Weiss, who is a propagandist, a Zionist propagandist, to run CBS News. And now he is even in talks to buy CNN, apparently. So think about that. He has the fastest growing sports organization in the world, owned by his son. Largest film studio in the world, owned by his son. Largest social media app for young people, owned by his son. The biggest pro-Israel propagandist and now independent mainstream news, maybe outside of Ben Shapiro, running one of the largest corporate media institutions in the world, and now buying another large corporate media institution in the world. Like, if alarm bells aren't going off in your head, I don't know what's going to cause alarm bells to go off in your head. Like, that's very concerning, very concerning. And in addition, a lot of people don't like this. He is now doing contracts with AI and tracing for drone technology in Gaza. Larry Ellison is incredibly close to the Israeli government. Incredibly close to the Israeli government. They have long ties to, again, foreign intelligence, domestic U.S. intelligence, everything like that. Safra Katz, who ran Oracle when I was there, she's a remarkable CEO. She did a great job. She ran a great company. And she just stepped down a couple weeks ago, and now Mike Cecilia and Clay McGurk, who run the GBU unit and who runs Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, which is the big cloud explosion that's going on, this pioneer in the AI boom, are now co-CEOs. So I don't know what's going to happen with Safra. I hope she's still, or for their sake, I hope she's still involved. She's a smart woman. But Safra Katz is Jewish. She was on Trump's transition team, as was Larry Ellison, I believe. And they have been very involved in this type of lobbying for a long time. And by the way, I want to get this out of the way right here. This is not a Jews control the media thing. It's not. But it is a power thing. It is a power thing. And this is something that we need to pay attention to. We need to pay attention to this. With all the talk about breaking up Google, breaking up Microsoft, or maybe not breaking up Microsoft, breaking up Google, breaking up Facebook, breaking up all these other things, I am for that. I want Facebook broken up. I want Google broken up. I want all these companies broken up. I don't believe monopolies are good for America. We are going to have the same conversation about Larry Ellison. We need some people with balls of steel in the government to say this is a problem. We need to fix that problem. We need to adjust this problem, and we cannot let this happen. So I want to focus on the Israel thing a little bit more too, because this is very important. So as we have seen over the last now almost 2 years, I think it's coming out next week, so it'll be 2 years from October 7th, which was Israel's 9/11. It was a horrible thing that happened. Many butchered people, raped women, killed people, bunch of bad things. That's not, like, it's horrible, absolutely horrible. And Israel had a right to react, right to respond, etc. But as we've seen since October 7th, there is no more powerful lobby in the world than the Israel lobby. Pat Buchanan talked about this. John Mearsheimer's talked about this. Jeffrey Sachs has talked about this. Lots of people have talked about this. Lots of people have taken this too far. Again, Jews control the media. Stop it. Like Jews control the banks. Stop it. Don't go too far. But they have run, the Israel lobby and the Zionist propagandists in this country, they have run the most effective campaign at silencing the truth I have ever seen. And by the way, far greater than anything with wokeism. Like, shut up racist has nothing to do with shut up anti-Semite. That's way more powerful, way more financial backing, more institutional power, way more foreign power that's involved with this, with the Israel lobby. And this is largely due to the fact why this has teeth and why wokeism, it's not dead, but it's way less amplified than it was. This is largely due to the people who are involved with the Israel lobby, who want to finance wars and have interest over our government that have control over media and technology, like Larry Ellison, like Peter Thiel, like David Sachs. There are many, like, by the way, Ted Cruz, like Lindsey Graham, like all of them. And so it is a gag order that is being imposed by big tech, by people like Larry Ellison, who is wanting to silence the truth. That's what this is. It's not anything else but this. So get the media, get technology. By the way, there has been, so Larry Ellison knows this. And Larry Ellison's probably always known this, which is why he's been so involved in this, kind of in the shadow realm behind the scenes. And so in his pursuit of power, he is joining up with the deep state of lobbying interests, of the Israel lobby, of big tech, of government, of Donald Trump, of all these entities, to play a key role in setting the tone and setting the narrative in this country. That is what this is for. He controls the AI models. The buck stops with him on the AI models, because it does. They're bottlenecked in the AI market with Oracle. And he wants to change the narrative to serve his interests and become a quasi-shadow president. People thought Elon Musk was a shadow president. Larry Ellison's a shadow, like an actual shadow president. Because when you go down the list of all of the things that Larry Ellison has achieved, very recently, by the way, this is very new stuff. This is over the last year that all of this has happened. Last year, 2 years. It's like that chart when, you see when Warren Buffett's made 90% of his wealth in the past 10 years because of compound interest. This is the career compound interest of Larry Ellison, just shooting up. Again, he's the most powerful man in the world for a reason, because he is now in a position, more than anybody I've ever seen outside of government, to set the tone and the narrative of our country, control the narrative, adjust the narrative in our country by getting a propagandist like Bari Weiss, which is what she is, to run CBS News, by shutting down TikTok, which, by the way, is the largely pro-Gaza. They're the only ones, except for X, to Elon Musk's credit, to show what's actually going on in Israel and in Gaza. You want to know why young people have turned against Israel? People like me who have turned against what Israel's doing in Gaza? Open your TikTok algorithm and watch the things that young people like me have watched. It's got to stop. If you're in a campaign for power over institutions, got to shut that down. Larry Ellison's going to shut it down. There's nothing to see here. Kids aren't getting blown up. Buildings aren't getting blown up. Israel isn't killing journalists. The IDF isn't killing innocent people. They're not starving the population. They're not committing a genocide. Shut up. There's nothing going on here. Nothing to see here. So it's not necessarily a monopolization of media. It's not necessarily a monopolization of technology. What Larry Ellison is doing is effectively a monopolization of communication. And communication is not, quote unquote, the media, although media has a part of it. It is corporate media. It is social media. It is AI generated content. It is the supply chain of AI content. So this is a cabal of interests in terms of communication in America. It's coming together in real time, and we need to be very vigilant and very careful of it, because, I mean, if this happens, that is, I'll just say we're in trouble if this happens. We are in deep trouble if this happens, because we need to be very, very vigilant, very, very careful of what is going on here, because it's very concerning and very scary when you have any entity, whether government, non-government, private citizen, public citizen, whatever, when they have this much control over this many institutions and they're accumulating power en masse and their financial ability is skyrocketing en masse. We've got to be careful of it. We've got to be careful of it. And Larry Ellison is the chief and the face of that franchise right now. So we need to, again, be honest about it, but we need to talk about it and have that conversation, because no one else is having it. And if we are not careful, we will lose everything: honesty, communication, knowledge, etc. And that can't happen. It just can't.